Hey everybody, that's Synth here. We're doing a short video on the pitch bin assembly board replacement for the D-50. Anyways, I'll show you the old one and then the one I'm going to replace it with, and some basics on how to connect it all back together. So, here is the victim of the day, Mr. D-50. He is quite happy to have a new board, so there won't be any more volume switch problems. Okay. I've actually unscrewed the key bed so far, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. Try to save as much time as possible. When you're removing the key bed, make sure to be careful of this ribbon connector here. So, that can get pulled pretty easily. So, that's actually connected to the pitch bin board in this little space here. So it connects like this. So it'll fit in there, and you can just pull it out. Okay. Set these keys in a safe place. Okay. Now we have the lovely D-50. I've actually taken the panel off the side here, which is necessary to actually get the board out. Here's the old one here. And when you take this out, you'll notice that there's a section of cables, a thicker band of wires, and then you have a couple of small ones here. This short one actually goes to the output board, and this longer one actually goes to the main board, and these even longer ones go to the left side of the main board when it's in. Okay. So anyways, this is the old board. Gotta have some good 80s music when you're doing synth surgery on Saturday night. Alright. Okay, and here is the new one. Definitely excited about having a new board in here. Okay. So this one has a pretty decent shape, volume switches, so I'm anxious to see how that works. Also, when you undo the wires here, you're going to notice that this big bundle of cables here will be connected to several other ones on the left side of the keyboard, or some side of. It's kind of tricky to sort all this stuff out, but I'll try to explain it best I can. Okay. There we go. So here's the board before it's put in. There is a thin set of wires. There's about 5 cables here, and they're real thin. These will be attached to the output board as well, on the right side of the main board. The thicker set of cables will be tied with the cables on the left side of the D-50. So when you're taking this apart and you're tying these all back together, make sure that the thicker cable is connected to this batch over here on the left side. So, another good idea is to take pictures of the inside of it so that you'll know exactly which set of wires went where and, you know, how those were set up. So anyways, I've already went through and connected these back together, and you just use some cotton thread. Or you can get the plastic zip ties as well. I just use the plastic thread, or the cotton thread for now. Okay. Another good idea is to kind of sort these so that nothing gets caught underneath the circuit boards and everything else when you're putting the actual key bed back on, because that can happen if it caught onto there. Okay, as far as setting the volume switch board up, pitch bin board, what I normally like to do is to go ahead and connect the pitch bin lever to the board before you even put it in place, because that'll be really hard to do if you don't do that first. And kind of set it in place, kind of gently, so nothing gets caught under there. And also so you don't bend the switches, because those are metal. Kind of set it in place. And what I normally do is there's several sets of screws here. actually 5 here on this one board. So a better idea to make things a little easier so that this board can't move around a whole lot is to go ahead and put the screw in the top half of the circuit board. And then put another screw in the very left side. So it doesn't have a chance to move around. Okay. Get that in there. And also the very lower left corner of the circuit board where the velocity ribbon cable will go. That's part of the key bed. Kind of a tight spot here because you have the connector for the ribbon cable and you have the little post that the key bed sits on, and then you have the screw in the center of both those two. It's kind of tight space. Okay. And also, this connector here, that's the shortest coming out of the pitch bend board, connects to the output board where all the line outs and headphone jack is and the MIDI cables and all that. Okay. Alright, so we got that connected. And then, next you'll need to set the side panel, this plastic panel of the D-50, back onto the board. Okay. It's always a good idea to be careful when you're setting this in, because this metal tab that holds the side panel in place can actually land on the circuit board on some of the soldering, so it's a good idea to be careful when you're setting that in place. Tighten the bottom of it. Set one on the top here. And set that in place. Get it good and tight. So with this good and secure and you can't really move it, there's one more screw that's going to be in the center of the pitch bend board. Get that settled in place. And tighten down. So now the volume switchboard will be in place for good. So it'll be nice and tight. Always a good idea to make sure that the volume selector can be moved so they're not stuck or anything. Okay. Now that we have that, the board is actually all the way in. And the fun part, you put the main board on and put the key bed on. Go ahead and grab those keys. And kind of settle this in place here. Oh, it's a good idea to have your D-50 on something soft so that the pitch bend doesn't get messed up and the joystick doesn't get too messed up. It's a very durable keyboard though, very well made, so very good synthesizer. Okay, when you're setting the key bed in place, this little ribbon connector here that I was talking about earlier is for the velocity information. This can get kind of caught on the pitch bend wheel because the whole pitch bend assembly is right there, so it's right next to it. So you have to be really careful that you don't get the wire and the ribbon connector caught up in it. So, what I like to do is, once I get the key bed lined up, is go ahead and put all the screws in first, and then put the ribbon cable in after that. I put the first one here. Good to go. Okay. And actually I'm going to stop the video so I don't run out of time. And I'm going to make a part 2. And put the key bed back together and connect all these wires. I'll see you in a minute.